Okay, so again, apologies for the allergies and the potentially blinking all the time. That is just going to happen. But I did get permission to read Gohrek's thoughts, his experience with Final Fantasy XIV, with no spoilers, even though we just were talking about spoilers anyway on stream. But I thought this would be neat to read what Gohrek has to think. He is a very long-standing member of this little corner of the internet, been a part of, I don't know, God, 6-7 years, long time, 5-6 year, half a decade. Incredibly wholesome gentleman, loves his brisket, really helpful in the community. Does a lot of work with in the tech channel, helping people with computer problems and things. Just an absolute upstanding gent, and he just finished all of Endwalker just a few days ago. And he quite literally had to take a couple days to process, which is very fair. I know a lot of long-running Final Fantasy XIV creators, like Zepla, say, and Mr. Happy, the ones that I probably partake in the most of their, thoughts and feelings and reactions towards this game. They also took quite a while to still get through and process everything, and they've been dealing with this game for much longer than us. I started playing 14 back in May of last year, so not even about a year experience, and I've done the entire game in one fell swoop, essentially. But growing with this game over a decade is probably quite different. But Gohrek did the same thing. I think he started toward the end of last year and has now played through all of the base MSQ. Still has plenty of blue quests to unlock, but I am curious what Gohrek thinks. So, my experience with Final Fantasy XIV, no spoilers. I remember back in March 2021 when many of my friends started recommending Final Fantasy XIV to me. It was at a time when my passion for MMOs was beginning to fade, and it had always been my intent not to touch any other MMO should I decide to quit World of Warcraft. Something I've been arguing, with myself about for some time. A few of my friends kept telling me how great Final Fantasy XIV is and how much quality content and storytelling I've missed. It's kept going on for, and I kid you not, nearly 7 months. That's true. That's right. We were definitely giving him some crap for about half a year. For 7 months of friends talking to me about Final Fantasy XIV whenever I'm around or streaming the games. I like to stream. Don't worry, folks. I still really love y'all. And he does. He plays a lot of Castlevania, Metroidvania kind of games, Mega Man. But we were always like, because he was so enamored with World of Warcraft and really enjoyed playing it, was definitely a holdout for it. But a lot of us, we cleared Sanctum of Domination, got down Heroic Sylvanas, which is all we really wanted to do, and then we were just like, you know what? No. We'll take a break. I need to mention World of Warcraft again, and I apologize in advance. With all that's happened with the company, lack of engagement, the state of things, I finally decided to quit World of Warcraft mid-October. This is 2021. Having been given up on MMOs altogether, I decided to stick to single-player games, but something happened around the end of October. I finally decided to pull the trigger and bought Final Fantasy XIV. I guess all the talking from my friends over the past several months led me to it. The funny thing is, I think he picked up the game, and it was it days or like a week plus or more later, he was already playing it and we didn't notice. And it was like a question he asked about it, and we were like, what? You picked up 14? What the heck? So, it was good. Speaking of friends, I had ones that paid no attention when I created my first character and went, yeah, whatever. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't think that was me. I don't think I found out until after he was already, I don't know, in Gridania, like level 17 or something. Yeah. I know we got him a guild invite and everything, a free company invite, and we were telling him what server we were on and whatnot, but I didn't know if he actually went all in and started playing. So Gohrek was like, oh yeah, so here's a screenshot of my new character. What do y'all think? I received no answer. Some made their private circle of other people and offered no welcoming words or helpful hints. Aw. I admit it made me feel somewhat sad. I guess part of me wanted some encouraging words to keep me going and feel like I've made the right decision. Gohrek is in like 4 or 5 different Discord communities. I think he moderates for a number of them. So he's not just talking about our little corner of the internet. Oh well, I guess I'm not cool enough to play and engage with them. That definitely would have been, yeah. That said, there is the other half group of friends. Is that us or other gamer people? They were with me every step of the way, from explaining jobs and classes to everything in the game. It was nothing sort of wholesome. They provided answers when I kept asking dumb questions and helped me through almost every dungeon and trial in the game. That's gonna be our dorky selves then. Yeah. I love these guys. I should also mention that some of them couldn't play with me since they play on a different data center or server. But that's about to change in the upcoming few months. True. I'm not going to speak about my experiences in every expansion, and what I'm about to mention might not sound significant to anyone but me, since I am not an online celebrity, nor I'm not interested in becoming one, so here goes. What a dork. Final Fantasy XIV has the best storytelling of any game I have played in the last 30 years. Nothing comes close to the quality of storytelling that Final Fantasy XIV offered me. It also happened to have some of the nicest players on the planet. I can't tell you how many times I got whispered by random people while leveling out in the world, or in instances wishing me all the best. It doesn't matter whether I made some mistakes or died a few times. Many of the people are just so unbelievably sweet. I'm not going to mention any spoilers, but this game, it managed to break me not once but quite a few times. There were times I had to mute my microphone while streaming because your boy was crying. Aw, it got me. I streamed all of Endwalker, man, and it was tough. I think I broke down at least twice. Not like, you know, bawling my eyes out, but like you get that like the gamer sniffles cry, and obviously nose running, eyes watering. Absolutely. Many of these people are just so unbelievably sweet. Yeah, okay, next line. Your boy was crying, and there were times where I laughed so hard it was truly magical. Oh, the Estinian stuff, he was loving it. Now I'm mostly done with the main story quest, which doesn't mean there's nothing else to do. The amount of content you can do in this game is insane. I have more jobs to unlock and level up, more raids, squadrons, and challenge logs to unlock, etc. This amount of content could easily take at least 7 months for me to go through. How insane. Take it slow. I mean, I tried to catch up and chew through as much as I could in this past year to get up to a point where I like understood the game. But if you don't need to do that, then I wouldn't worry about it. Lastly, I want to thank the other group of friends who helped me and were so kind and patient with my stupid questions. Thanks for all the adorable pets and cool mounts. Thanks for all the great level 90 gear you offered me even before hitting level 90. That's a shout out directly to Destora. Destora bought him a whole set of crafted gear before he was like mid 80s, and he was like, he needs this. Thank you so much, and thanks for reading. Yeah, it was definitely Destora. He bought him the whole set of gear. I mean, just yesterday we were talking in Discord about squadrons, because he was going back to other content that he kind of skipped past. He was really focused on just the MSQ to begin with, which is, that's probably, I don't know, what's the time to beat right now? This is not directly related to Gohrek's experience, but I am curious, what is the Final Fantasy XIV? How do I look up Final Fantasy XIV on time to beat? The games list is kind of strange because it doesn't actually say. You look up maybe Final Fantasy XIV online. Does that give you the overall? No results. What the heck? Final Fantasy XIV. There it is. So, Final Fantasy XIV, if you add up every single chunk of the game for the main story, it clocks in. This is, of course, just rated by players. So like Shadowbringers is roughly 58 hours, Endwalker 50 hours, Stormblood 60 hours, Heaven's Ward 71. So we're looking at 202 hours, but that is just the leisure rate for main story. Main plus extras, so I'm assuming unlocks for the entire game, is 2,900 hours, with the completionist rating, which only got pulled from 3 people, is 5,500. I don't know how you can completionist the game though. I guess if depending on your achievement category. But the 200 plus, I was gonna say my base guess was 250 hours of raw single player with some multiplayer built in of the whole journey from the start of ARR till the end of 6.0. Probably between that 220 to 250 hour mark for sure. But it's been awesome. The weirdest thing about playing 14 is that when you play through it yourself, it's great. The story is awesome. The characters you meet along the way are great. There's, you know, the voice acting starts off pretty rough and pretty light, as the game's budget obviously was indicative of that. But as the time went on, the amount of storytelling devices have changed, gotten way better. Like Heaven's Ward is hailed as quite good, and it is, but it's still really slow. Whereas Shadowbringers and Endwalker have a lot more snap to them. Like the flow of the quests, the amount of dialogue spoken, so you're not reading a novella every few minutes, is a lot more fluid as the game has gone on. Like they've really honed the craft, and you can see that as the game progresses, as the expansion just goes on. But just the amount of story you interject just doing the main story, and now playing through the game, Gohrek didn't have the duty support system. He was doing a lot of the dungeons with just random people or with us in the community. But now you have the duty support system, so you can play the game almost entirely by yourself outside of some group content that makes you duty find and group up with people. But that the duty support system now will be moving forward with, that's a chocobo butt. We'll be moving forward with more options and going to encompass all of the main story dungeons across the whole game. Now, that's still a chocobo butt. That won't include the trials, I don't think, and obviously the raid series and the trial series and the, you know, extremes and the alliance raids. Those are all with other players. But I know that was part of Gohrek's issue, was playing with other people a lot, especially learning a brand new game. But Final Fantasy XIV is definitely a special experience. And we're not even done. Like our raid team, we've got like 2.5 more mechanics to do on Hesperos P4S Part 2. Almost there. We just don't get to raid very much. We've got raid things come up and change, and we're getting there. We're getting there. And for our first Savage tier, we're getting there. The first 3 bosses didn't take all that long. We've been on Hesperos for almost 2 months now, but I think we've only raided 20-ish hours in 2 months on one boss. It's rough, but we're almost there. So it'll be fun to help Gohrek along with the remainder of all the unlocks, all the additional dungeons. We gotta get him on that end game grind to get like a Dragoon Shadowbringers relic. That's gonna be a thing. We haven't done much Eureka. I know people in the community have done ARR and Heaven's Ward relics, but I haven't yet. It's all the glam, right? It's just for the transmog, that glamour. But there's a lot to do. It's been a lot of fun, and looking forward to more of it. I've currently done all the 6.1 stuff now, but I know there's still going to be more in the future. Next patch isn't until like mid to late August. Granted, there's more coming out from 6.1 because it's a delayed release. There's still like 2 other quest series. There's one more coming in the last end game zone. Then there's the Taru's stuff happening, which may be the relic weapon. I have a sneaking suspicion that's going to be the relic series. It's all people are thinking it might be. So that's going to be a journey. But thank you, Gohrek, for sharing your thoughts. I didn't actually get into as many details as I thought I was going to, but I'm sure we'll talk about it in Discord later. That was really good. But thank you for hanging out with this. And we're going to chat more about this later, as more people get up to date and finish Final Fantasy XIV, and I learn more about the game and make more videos about it, as I can safely talk about it because I need to learn enough about it and absorb enough information, and so I'm not just talking out my bum. But that's that little segment.